everyone, Hungry Reader here. Time once again to root through the bags and see what I got at the thrift store in this segment that I have officially named THRift. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. Be glad you're not going to have to talk about it with anyone anytime soon. Here's something I saw several copies of. This one actually still has this old Borders price sticker on it, so maybe they got rid of some old stock. It's Oh Yuck! The Encyclopedia of Everything Nasty. Let's see what they've got. Well, let's see what they define as nasty, because a lot of what they define as nasty for kids are just like, huh? What's the first thing that I turn to when I open my copy of Oh Yuck? Oh, ants. Well, I guess, I mean, it's annoying when they get into the house, but I never looked at an ant and went, oh, 6 legs, it's hideous. Gross grub. This is... Oh, you know, I really hate to use this word because it's been given a bad reputation by otherwise well-meaning people, but problematic. Because it's talking about how people in other cultures eat such weird foreign food. Ugh! They eat raw fish. What's wrong with them? Obviously, this book isn't aimed at me. It's aimed at, say, a 10-year-old, but it's a big old coffee table-sized thing that would probably be good bathroom reading, at least. But I can keep thinking of things that are pretty gross that I'd actually like to learn more about that aren't in this. Like, I don't think there's a chapter about cerebrospinal fluid. I just realized it's in alphabetical order. Let's look up some stuff. Let's see. Pus? Okay, at least there's pus. My cat Horse, the one who shows up in my videos once in a while, he had a really nasty abscess on his ear this week, and my dad and I have spent the whole time squeezing the pus out of his ear, so it's been on our minds. He's gotten better, though. How to write and illustrate children's books and get them published. Now, this is something that, yes, I'm really looking into, but this book was written, or published at least, yeah, 1988, reprinted in 2000, so there has been a huge upheaval in the book market since then. I mean, I don't think there's going to be anything about getting your books on iBooks or Kindle, so it's pretty much an artifact at this point, but it's very interesting. It's got a lot of great illustrations, a lot of great sample illustrations from some of the world's great illustrators, like, oh, I see E.B. White and, oh, Quentin Blake. Oh, I have this book, The Bears River Picnic. It's a thick book, but once I get through it, maybe I could actually do an episode about this. The Periodic Table, Elements with Style. Now, what a weird title, Elements with Style. This is one of those things where a kid reads this and then some 5 to 10 years later, they're in school and they happen to read Strunk & White's Elements of Style, and they're like, oh! But this is actually a book introducing you to the periodic table of elements by turning them into weird, vaguely cute, but kind of overly squinty Sanrio-looking characters. I mean, everything has slanted eyes. I mean, it gets to a point where it stops being, look, Mom, I'm drawing manga, and it becomes, look, Mom, I'm drawing. I'm going to look up some of my favorite elements and see what's in here. First up, strontium. I don't know what to think about this. Strontium seems to be wearing raver pants and a stethoscope. Bromine, represented as a slimy Pac-Man ghost wearing a propeller beanie. I think this is actually leaning less away from the you can draw manga and more into you can draw Jonan Vasquez characters. I like how the element of tungsten is represented as just a big lumbering rock with light bulbs stuck all over him. I think they were out of ideas. Okay, now this next thing, I'm going to have to take you down my memory lane for a little, and let's talk about Nickelodeon. That is, the Nickelodeon that I grew up with in the 80s, from before they even started making their own shows, When Nickelodeon started out, it was kind of a clearinghouse of, well, things that were for kids ostensibly, but didn't have a home anywhere else. So there was a lot of overseas TV. We were getting Canadian things like You Can't Do That on Television, which is still a huge part of their history, and Pinwheel. Let's not forget, actually, it was originally called the Pinwheel Network. I was a huge Pinwheel fan as a kid for about a year. But one of the things that I and a lot of my close friends have deep and fond memories of was something that Nickelodeon had called Special Delivery. And that was literally a delivery system for TV specials. It was movies and made-for-TV stuff it was just whatever was cheapest, I guess. But there was a lot of great stuff that you never saw anywhere else. Like, the one that everyone remembers seeing on Special Delivery was the Raggedy Ann and Andy movie, the one directed by Richard Williams. And let's see, there was a puppet production of Miss Peach of the Kelly School, which I saw years before I heard that there was ever actually a comic strip that it was based on. But the book I have here is based on the TV special that aired on Nickelodeon's Special Delivery. That's where I was going with this. And the TV special is based on the off-Broadway or possibly off-Broadway musical. And the musical is based on several books. So it's a book based on a special, based on a musical, based on a book. It's Really Rosie. It's really Rosie, and she's Rosie real. Really Rosie is actually an assortment of Maurice Sendak children's books, sort of assembled into a weird plot and cobbled together into a musical, set to music. What story there is that there's this one girl who dresses up in feather boas and stuff, who calls herself Rosie, really Rosie, and she's trying to get everyone together to do some sort of show. So already, that's one of the things. I used to be in theater. I was one of those theater kids. You can tell from how I carry myself. But the thing that turned me off to musicals especially was how many of them were just musicals about, let's put on a musical. 42nd Street seemed like the biggest offender for me in that department. It was just like, they're telling a story, but the story is off camera. But the excuse they make for it in this book, well, in this special at least, is that the characters are just singing the songs that come naturally to them because they're actually auditioning for this show that Rosie is trying to put on. And the weirdest thing about it is that one of the kids is an alligator. And his name is Alligator. And there is never any explanation given for why one of these kids on this, what is very clearly Brooklyn tenement street corner is an alligator, apart from, well, it's New York. Maybe he lives in the sewer. I don't know. They don't even bring it up. And there's some sort of subplot about how they can't find this one kid whose name is Chicken Soup, and there's this hint that he may have choked on a chicken bone, but it turns out he's okay. For all of you who were worried about what might have happened to Chicken Soup. That was all I got out of the first thrift store I visited today. So then I went to the other one that's nearby me and found treasure. But it's not book-related treasure. Not entirely. I did get books. Anything by Jack Kent is usually fantastic, and this is no exception. Jack Kent was a cartoonist. He created some comic strip called King Aru that I've never found anything about. But I knew him as a kid as one of my favorite children's book writers and illustrators. He does some really wonderful stuff. And I didn't even realize. This is a Please Read to Me book.
This is my book. Will you please read it to me? Thank you.
But Clotilde is a really cute book about a fairy godmother with no one to fairy godmother for. And at one point, check it out. At one point, there's even a Midsummer Night's Dream reference. Oh, and remember what I was talking about Nickelodeon in the 80s? If you watched Nickelodeon in the 80s, there is one phrase that has nothing to do with any show they showed, but it will still be burned into your brain for the rest of your life, and that phrase is, Sweet Pickles is great! I'm gradually trying to assemble an entire collection of Sweet Pickles books. I keep finding them piece by piece at the thrift stores, but I still haven't found the Sweet Pickles bus that all this stuff came in, so I hope I can find one someday. Heck, I wish I could find an actual bus that I could paint green and drive around wearing a goose costume and come to kids' houses and take my name off your list. I'm not going to make fun of Goof Off Goose. I can identify with her. So that was it for the books, but this is still a very 80s flavored selection of THRift. Let me show you 1989 in a bag. Actually, I'm kind of exaggerating because there's a lot of stuff from later, but I think the newest thing in this bag is from 1994, though, and the rest of it is really wonderfully obscure stuff from my childhood and maybe yours. Let's go through it piece by piece. I'm also going to set up something super special for this one, a second camera, so you can see what it is. All right. Now opening the bag of 1989. First of all, here are the two things that are probably the newest. Actually, yeah, these might be from after 1994. Let's see. Yeah, 1995. I was right. 1995. Two little earthworm Jims on their scooters.
Groove it!
Next up, we have War Machine. Yeah, that's what we called him when I was a kid. Now they call him Iron Patriot, I guess. I don't know. But everyone knew that the black and white Iron Man was War Machine. See, I live on the West Coast. And so I took a certain amount of patriotic, I guess, pride in superheroes who were members of the West Coast Avengers. And the weird thing about the West Coast Avengers when I was a kid was, well, one, that there's West Coast Avengers, but two, they were all sort of spin-offs of existing characters. They didn't have Captain America, they had U.S. Agent, who was like this weird jingoistic right-wing superhero who had sort of seen the light. And I guess he'd seen the light if he'd moved to the West Coast. And then there was War Machine was another one, and then there was Spider-Girl, but... Oh, no, Spider-Woman, that's right. Spider-Girl is May Parker, but... Nerd. So, even though that was a long time ago, I still think of him as one of those California heroes. So I take pride in owning a War Machine. He's missing a leg and a tail, but no one could ever mistake Mondo Gecko. Boy, these Playmates toys, they get really gummy when they're old. I mean, this is sticky. I hope nobody, like, put maple syrup on it or something. Mondo Gecko is a Ninja Turtles toy, not one that I ever had, so I don't have any fond memories of him, although I might have gotten this guy as a birthday present for a friend when we were like 11, because I remember getting some... No, it wasn't him, Yeah, but I got him, my friend Josh, I got him the pizza launcher, I think it was the pizza launcher, and also to go with it, what I thought were the two coolest figures on the shelf, which were Fugitoid. Fugitoid was like a bronze robot that sort of looked like Rob from the Nintendo Entertainment System, and Mutagen Man, who was a big tank of internal organs with eyeballs and brains that you filled with water so they floated in the tank. Wow. Oh, gross. That was a genuine reaction. I just realized that this car is Theodore of the Chipmunks, riding around in a little car holding, what is that, a super mushroom? Oh, it's a tambourine? And he's got a present with him, so it's like a Christmas car float. And the reason I said ew is because it's partly full of liquid, yellow liquid. So it was supposed to be a snow dome at some point. But now it's just Theodore not having been able to find a bathroom while he's riding on his little float parade car. Oh. You know, if I'd gone back in time and told the 8-year-old me, hey, you know what? There's gonna be a Chipmunks movie, he would have said, big deal, I don't like the Chipmunks. But then I would have said, and in the preview, Alvin eats a big chunk of Theodore's feces! I don't know what the 8-year-old me would have thought of that. Oh, wow! A green ball! Fascinating. Another Ninja Turtle toy. This one is a lot harder to mistake. I believe it's Metalhead. I think that's his name. This is like one of the bad guy turtles, or maybe it wasn't. But he has... Okay, I don't know what to make of this figure because it's a robot, but he very clearly has a sculpted red brain visible in his head. So, what was he the 5th turtle that like died and they had to resurrect his brain in a robot body or something? What was his name? Botticelli? Or was he, or was that actually his name and he was named after beloved Renaissance artist Giovanni Porcellini Metalhead? When did the 80s become the 90s? I will tell you when. It was when everyone knew what this silhouette was. See, back in the 90s, there was all of this Simpsons merchandise, and for some reason, Bart was always wearing a blue shirt. I mean, everyone knows he wears an orange shirt. I mean, it's right there. It's just one of those weird things about merchandising that they never quite get the character designs right. Kind of like how... this is probably for copyright reasons, but I always thought it was weird that on the show, Beavis and Butthead wore shirts that said Metallica and AC/DC, but in all of the merchandise, there were shirts that said Skull and Death Rock. Anyone know who this guy is? This character that looks like another member in good standing of the Spoiled Fat Kids Club? Oh, it's like, I don't know what his name was. Pigsley Pochalot or something like that from Captain Planet. How do I know it's from Captain Planet? Because you flip it over, and Captain Planet's big face sticks out like this, and it's really weird. Like, I mean, it still rolls. I don't know what to make of this. It's a vehicle that I guess he's possessing it, or... I never liked Captain Planet. Hey, Willie! I put on this suit of armor! Ha! Here is Alf. He is wearing a suit of armor. I don't know why. He is also standing on top of a crocodile. I also don't know why. Maybe this has some... Oh, copyright 1990, Alien Productions. So this probably has something to do with the Alf Tales cartoon, where he was reenacting public domain stories, which needed to be reenacted with Alf in them. This is a bit of a mystery. It's a Wendy's toy. It's blue and orange and purple and a lot of my favorite colors, actually. And on the back it says, Fly. Apart from that, there's no other explanation for what it means. From Wendy's from 1992. Did Wendy's ever have their own, like, Wendy's Kids Club gang characters or something? Was one of them a car named Fly? Kind of looks like Nightbeat, actually. Psst. Any furries out there? I know what you want. I know what you need. You need Gadget. You love the Gadget. You want that Gadget, right? Well, you can't. This one's all mine. Honestly, I never saw what was that great about Gadget, but... Well, my Saturday morning crush was Dixie from Pee-wee's Playhouse, so, I can't point fingers. A small clay pot. This will be great if you have a Link action figure and you want something for him to smash to get rupees. Down to some random crap here. A single letter block. I guess whoever was filling this bag was like, there's still a little space left. Let's just throw some of this random parts of other toys in. Who knows the difference anymore, right? What looks like it might be a Styracosaurus. And a small stone elephant. And a couple of checkers. Just in case you want to play a really easy game of checkers. Jump. I win! But now we're down to the good stuff. He has no arms, no legs, no anything, but this is very clearly a Food Fighters toy. See, back in the 80s, there was this short-lived line of toys that was like, Corporal Pizza and Admiral Hot Dog versus, General Hamburger and, Rear Admiral Pancakes or something like that. At first, what's great is that I don't know if this is supposed to be a play feature with this toy, but you take off all the arms and legs and it just looks like pancakes. And then you turn it, and it's got this scary leering face, and it's almost like, did I imagine that? Did those pancakes just wink at me? Here is a small die-cast juggernaut. I don't know why it was necessary to make a metal juggernaut. Well, apart from that he's the juggernaut. But you know the real reason that I would buy a bag of toys at a thrift store, right? Right, because there's Transformers in it. These alone made it worth the $2.99 price. What we have here is, I believe, an Autobot Triggerbot. I'm pretty sure his name is Dogfight. Let's see if I can transform him. Because I never had this guy as a kid. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, okay. Okay, check it out. So he's a jet with hypercritical wings, but you like hit this button, and they flip out to non-hypercritical, whatever the standard word is, and with guns on top. So, Trigger. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Triggerbot warning! And because of the way his kind of wind-up gimmick works, you can only really move the one arm, so he can raise his left fist to do the Black Power salute, but he can't Sig Heil. Good. I agree with his politics. And here's, I think his name is Throttle? No, he's a Throttle bot. No. What is this guy's name? It's not, okay, the Throttle bots were Goldbug, Searchlight, Freeway, Chase, Wide Load, and this guy. Oh, this is Rollbar. Rollbar, yeah. I remembered because he was the one who shared names with someone on Robots in Disguise. Now the Throttle bots, as you can see, have no articulation except for the fact that they can lie down. And that's because all they really are is wind-up toys, pull-back motor figures that you can transform. Looks like Rollbar no longer works. Oh, yes he does. I just had to wind him up a little. Watch out, Juggernaut! Here comes Rollbar! Eventually! Yeah! Oh! He works a lot better if his arms are out. Okay. So, Rollbar likes to hold out his arms so he can pretend he's flying while he drives. Whee! And now for the reason that I bought this in the first place, I was like, is that? It is. It is! It's High Q! High Q is Optimus's stomach, basically. He's a Power Master. That means that he transforms into an engine that plugs into the Gurl in Optimus Prime's stomach and allows him to transform. I guess he couldn't transform without it for some reason because it takes too much energy. Well, they had a hard time explaining these things, but he's basically a key that lets you transform your Power Master Optimus Prime toy. And with that, my camera just ran out of space, so we'll see you next time for THRift!